keep it going. Our next presenter is Phil Martens, President and CEO of one of the world's largest aluminum product suppliers. And yes, this week, I guess you could say we've seen a great deal here at MBS about the further potential of aluminum over the course of the week. And of course, as you may know, Mr. Martens enjoyed a long and successful career in engineering and product development management at Ford Motor Company. And I want you to please welcome him to the podium to talk about Novelis and the auto industry. Thank you.
Well, good morning. I did watch the Tigers last night. I don't get a chance to do that often, and I'm glad to see they're winning. I get the chance to live in Atlanta now, where the Braves are the hottest team in the National League, and the Tigers appear to be the hottest team in the American League. Maybe they'll meet in the World Series. That'd be cool. Today's going to be an interesting discussion because I've been invited today to talk about how automotive manufacturers and their partner suppliers can work together, and now to quote, to create a viable business models to deliver great products that embody new technologies, new materials, new functionality for rapidly changing markets, and how these business models can create a vision that incorporates strategies for sustainable businesses and our society as a whole. Now, that is quite a challenge for any company or any set of companies, to be sure, but when you step back and look at it from my perspective, I think you're going to see that the aluminum industry, now led by Novelis, is doing just that. As I'm sure you all know, the growth of aluminum as a key component in automotive design has been the subject of much debate lately, even as the amount of aluminum used in cars and trucks has grown at an accelerating rate in recent years. As you can see from this graph here and data from Drucker Worldwide Aluminum, aluminum is poised to increase even more dramatically in the coming decade. Yet despite this hard data regarding documented usage of aluminum to date, and these carefully formulated projections for future growth, aluminum does have its detractors. Now, these are coming primarily from advocates of competing materials like steel and composites. And before we delve into why these detractors believe aluminum will never replace steel or other materials, let's remember why aluminum is even being considered as a key component for automotive design and production. I mean, the answer is really quite simple. Automobiles need to be lighter in order to become more fuel efficient. The combination of the looming fuel efficient standards and consumers' desire for higher mileage vehicles are driving the move towards lighter vehicles. And these two factors do go hand in hand. Engine innovations, be they combustible, electric, or hybrid, can only go so far in driving fuel efficiency. The remaining element contributing to increased fuel efficiency is simply reducing vehicle mass. At the end of the day, this is just plain physics. Automobiles made from aluminum offer dramatically higher fuel efficiency without compromising, and this is important, the level of performance and fuel economy that consumers now expect from their vehicles. That said, the argument based against aluminum is based on a number of factors, and these detractors believe they serve as a very high barrier to entry. They claim that aluminum is not as strong as steel, that the cost of replacing steel with aluminum on a part-by-part basis would increase vehicle costs beyond acceptable levels. They claim that a given automotive component made from aluminum is both weaker and much more expensive than the same component made from steel today. They also claim that in order to incorporate aluminum instead of steel, auto manufacturers would have to design their vehicles in a completely different way as to how they are designed today. That in order to replace steel structures and body parts with their aluminum equivalents, automotive manufacturers would have to rethink the entire design process. Aluminum would have to be designed in right from the start, beginning at the new model concept stage. And even if this were to occur, these detractors argue producing an aluminum-intensive automobile would require a wholesale recreation of the entire vehicle manufacturing cycle, from supply chain to factory retooling to post-production repair and parts inventory. These costs of these massively disruptive changes simply wouldn't be worth the nominal return. And finally, these detractors say that consumers simply won't accept vehicles made from what is perceived to be a lighter and hence less sturdy material, and they wouldn't feel as safe in an automobile made from the same metal that they use to wrap their leftovers in. Now, you may be surprised that I actually agree with these detractors on a conceptual level. These are the primary challenges that aluminum faces in becoming the material of choice for the next generation of automotive design and production. Where we differ, however, and we differ in a big way, is in terms of our respective views regarding how far we've come in surmounting these supposed barriers to entry. You know, where we stand today as a result and looking at the tumultuous changes that are literally right around the corner with the increases in fuel economy required, many fail to realize and recognize the progress aluminum and Novelis have made over the past 20 years, let alone the notoriety over the last 2 or 3. Many fail to appreciate the inevitable factors that are at work in the market today, driving automotive manufacturers to take a much longer-term outlook than they have in the past. And perhaps most importantly, they understand the willingness of today's automotive OEMs and manufacturers to embrace significant change at a pace that hasn't been seen in a long, long time. From where I stand, we are much further down the road than most people realize, so allow me to address these challenges one by one. Claims that aluminum can't cost-effectively match the strength of steel are simply misguided. On one hand, aluminum has proven to be viable in a number of areas, beginning with engine block and drivetrain applications. The weight savings now provided by considering full aluminum body and white applications and now enable automotive manufacturers to deliver vehicles that utilize existing powertrain technologies to deliver both high horsepower and improved fuel economy solutions. With steel-intensive models, customers are beginning to be forced to choose between performance and fuel efficiency. With aluminum, it's not an either-or, it's an and decision, because aluminum gives them both. And the higher cost per pound of aluminum is more than offset by the cumulative cost efficiencies delivered by a lower weight vehicle. As for safety, structural components made from aluminum can be designed to absorb energy and crashes equal to, and in some cases better, than traditional steel designs, providing superior protection. In fact, aluminum structural components have been designed as some of the safest cars on the market today. I don't know if many of you caught this, but when Prince William and Kate Middleton loaded up their new baby to ride home, they chose the new all-aluminum Range Rover. And if you think about it, an all-aluminum vehicle is safe enough for the future King of England, I think the rest of the world will have no problem trusting similarly constructed vehicles for themselves or for their families. Now, this leads me to the second challenge, the claim that in order to realize the true benefits of aluminum, automotive manufacturers will have to design new vehicles in a completely different way right from the start. While I would agree with that incremental applications of aluminum such as hoods, deck lids, lift gates do provide significant improvements in fuel economy, I do agree that you have to start the process of creating an all-aluminum vehicle at the early stages of the design concept. And that's been happening for some time, quite for some time. We just heard about the 1993 adoption in the Audi A8, then the Jaguar XJ, and then last year with Land Rover's new all-aluminum 2014 Range Rover. Novelis engineers working closely with new vehicle design teams at leading automotive OEMs have developed new alloys, innovative applications, and revolutionary designs that leverage the unique properties of rolled aluminum sheet to create stunningly beautiful high-performance vehicles. These same advances are now being applied in the design of a much broader array of aluminum-intensive new models yet to come, from sleek mid-range sedans to rugged SUVs and other automotive and truck products. At the same time, our newly opened Research and Technology Center outside of Atlanta has become a hotbed of materials research and new product designs targeting the exploding market for aluminum automotive sheet. Now, this brings us to the critical production issue. Sure, you can design an aluminum-intensive vehicle from the ground up, but what about the changes that would need to be made in order to produce it at high volumes? The expanding material sourcing, new assembly processes, and automated equipment retooling that all have to be addressed. And then what about the aftermarket parts and repairs? How long will it take to realize a meaningful ROI on the capital investments and changes required? These are formidable changes, to be sure, but once again, they are already taking place at some of the most innovative and forward-thinking automakers in the world. And Novelis is playing a key role in helping them make this transition. The technical leadership at Novelis delivers what we want and what our customers want in terms of material formability, high-strength structural alloys, and fastening innovations that are unmatched in the aluminum industry. For example, we've partnered with customers like Jag Land Rover to help them redesign their entire manufacturing floor to produce the all-aluminum Range Rover in high volumes. And that investment is already paying off. The new Range Rover model is their best-selling model ever. But perhaps the most meaningful contribution Novelis is making to advance the use of aluminum in the next generation of automobiles is our closed-loop business model for the automotive market. This diagram is showing how the aluminum automotive sheet is rolled, finished, and shipped to the auto manufacturing plant, where the sheet is then stamped into a hood, door, structural component, liftgate, etc. This is a process that leaves up to 50% scrap as the sheet is actually stamped and then the scrap is removed. And you can see this here in the middle. Now, rather than selling this scrap to dealers, it is collected and segregated by the manufacturer and then returned to Novelis, where we remelt, recast, and then re-roll this reclaimed material into automotive sheet to begin the cycle once again. This has been happening for some time now at our Latchford plant in the UK in conjunction with Jag Land Rover and our recycling and auto sheet manufacturing plants across Europe. And at our Oswego plant here in the United States, where we're about to commission our largest auto sheet finishing expansion, this process will soon be a 24/7, tightly managed operation. Trucks loaded up with aluminum coils will leave our plant, and they'll deliver coils to customers right here in Michigan. And they will return loaded up from the scrap from the previous shipments. In fact, we'll be making substantial further investments to support automotive recycling just here in North America. The benefits in supply chain management and efficiencies of this closed-loop system are really unparalleled. They're providing tremendous advantages to both the customers that we serve and to Novelis itself. Automotive manufacturers are ensured a steady, reliable supply of high-value auto sheet, and Novelis benefits from a secured, reoccurring source of input material and a close, long-term relationship with a high-volume customer. There's another part of this closed loop that will eventually come into play here, and I'll address that in just a minute. Well, the benefits of the closed-loop manufacturing model are tremendous. First is efficiency. The closed-loop model secures reliable, independent sources of input materials and improves the efficiency of materials procurement, of manufacturing, of supply chain, and logistics for Novelis and our customers alike. The second is customer relationships. The closed-loop model strengthens a cooperative, long-term partnership with major global automakers driving the development of innovative new products and processes that expand the use of aluminum across the globe as we see it driving up in more and more automobiles. And the third is sustainability. The closed-loop model that we look at dramatically reduces the carbon footprint of our own operations, our customers' operations, and the carbon footprint of fuel-efficient cars and trucks. The benefit to both the business and society really are unmatched. So now we come to the challenge of consumer acceptance of aluminum in automobiles, and this is one that really does perplex me the most. And the question really is, will consumers accept aluminum-intensive vehicles? To me and to many others now, the answer is an emphatic yes. You don't have to look too far to see that today's consumers not only accept aluminum-intensive products, they embrace them wholeheartedly. It's not just cars, it's smartphones, it's laptops, it's iPads, other tablets, high-definition flat-screen TVs. The lightweight, durable, and attractive finishes of aluminum dominate today's entertainment and mobile communication worlds. If it needs to be strong, lightweight, and mobile, aluminum is by far and away the consumer's choice. This is also true in the automotive arena. Let's just look at this car, the Tesla, that was named Motor Trend's Car of the Year. It has an aluminum body. And as I mentioned earlier, the Jaguar Land Rover cannot keep up with demand for its new 2014 Range Rover. So speaking of demand, let me talk a little bit about how we're going to meet this exploding demand for aluminum automotive sheet. To be sure, we see demand outpacing supply for the foreseeable future. While we are moving as quickly as we can to increase our capacity, the market for aluminum automotive sheet will be tight for years to come. So what are we doing about it? We are aggressively increasing our capacity to produce automotive sheet across the globe. In Europe, where most of our automotive sheet currently comes from, we are ramping up production by shifting capacity from other aluminum applications to the automotive sector. For example, our Göttingen plant in Germany has recently been certified to deliver automotive sheet, joining our other two European automotive sheet plants in Neckarstadt, Germany, and Sierre, Switzerland. Construction of our automotive finishing line in Changzhou, China is progressing according to plan, paving the way for what we see as tremendous growth in the broader Asian market. And here in North America, we are about to commission our $200 million automotive sheet expansion project in our Oswego, New York plant. When we combine this expansion in New York with our existing auto finishing lines in Kingston, Ontario, we will increase our automotive capacity in North America by 5 times. As we speak today, finishing coils are rolling off these 2 new automotive finishing lines and being delivered right here in Michigan for customer evaluation. The question is that enough? And we don't think so, which is why we're currently evaluating capacity increases to meet what we think and what we see is the long-term demand that is actually developing as we finalize longer-term contracts and work with automotive OEMs on major new commitments that they are evaluating at this time. We firmly believe we will have to expand the automotive capacity to support our auto manufacturing partners in meeting this demand, particularly here in North America, and we intend to do just that. So what does all this mean in terms of the topic of this session? Well, it's pretty clear that we at Novelis are far down the path of creating a viable business model to deliver great products, and that these products embody new technologies, new materials, and new functionality that meet the demands of a rapidly changing automotive landscape. And we're doing all of this by employing a closed-loop business model that is driven by a vision that is sustainable for our businesses and our customer businesses. But what about the benefits of all of this for society as a whole, which is really the last part of the challenge that we were asked to look at? Here's where Novelis is really providing what we call the icing on the cake, as it were. Only we see it as the fundamental underpinning of our sustainable manufacturing strategy. A little over 2 years ago, Novelis declared that we would put in place a strategy that would require changes in our asset structure to ensure that by the end of this decade, 80% of the aluminum we produce comes from recycled material. Why is that? Well, when you think about it, recycled aluminum uses 95% less energy and emits 95% fewer greenhouse gases than primary aluminum. Recycled aluminum dramatically reduces the carbon footprint of Novelis, as well as the carbon footprint of our customers' products. As you can see here, our strategy is working quite well. Our progress towards reaching our 80% recycled content target has been impressive. We went from 33% recycled content 2 years ago up to 39% after 1 year, and we ended our fiscal year this year in March at 43%. Our current run rate is about 45%, putting our interim target of 50% recycled content in all of our products globally well within reach. But how does this work in the automotive manufacturing cycle? Here we see a second closed loop coming into play, where post-consumer aluminum scrap from used automobiles and other sources gets looped into the aluminum sheet production cycle here at the scrap collection, remelt, and ingot casting phases. This second closed loop has long been a key component of our aluminum beverage can product cycle, and while the life of an automobile is orders of magnitude longer than that of a beverage can, it does hold the same principles. As more and more aluminum-based models make their way into the market, this metal will become a growing source of input for material into new automotive sheet. And at the same time, Novelis is hard at work developing new alloys for the automotive applications that leverage a higher recycled content, adding even more sustainable efficiencies into the automotive supply chain. So there you have it. As you can see, we stand really at the crossroads of a monumental shift in how the next generation of automobiles are being designed and built with aluminum auto sheet from Novelis, driving a new business model, a new partnership between supplier and manufacturer. We look forward to expanding this and expanding the benefits of this as new models come to market and will help us drive the automotive industry here in the United States forward. We're very confident that the consumers will accept it and society at whole ultimately will benefit. We have a saying at Novelis, it's not just aluminum, it's Novelis aluminum. Thank you.